did that, I felt like he was against me. Like, at that point, he just didn't care. So I'm like, you know what, I'm sorry, I can't do this podcast right now. I can't do this episode. And that's when he mentioned, I'm just, at this point, allowing the enemy to win. So at that moment, I'm like, okay, this is spiritual. And he grabbed, like, his keys, his wallet, and etc., as if he was about to go somewhere. So I'm like, where you going? And he just ignored me and didn't say nothing. The moment that he put his keys down, I picked them up and I hid the keys.
And when I'm here, I try to be present. But yesterday, the warfare, all the different things that was pulling on me, how I was feeling within myself, the stuff that I know that has to be done, was just like weighing heavy on me. And in that moment, I didn't need a conversation.
So yeah, don't be afraid to change when needed. And submission is not equivalent to being weak. It's actually strength.
My rich wisdom would be, no matter what the situation is, great or small, give grace.
Ooh, that's rich.
Yeah, that's some rich wisdom right there.
Yo, welcome to another edition to the Richest Wisdom podcast. I'm Lonn B.
And I'm Nia B.
And we are
The berries.
So today we had a topic in mind, which we still might double back on, but I want to talk about spiritual warfare. I feel like that is where the Spirit has been leading me to ever since we experienced what we experienced yesterday, which was spiritual warfare at its highest. If you don't mind, would you just like unpack like what happened from your perspective, and we gonna give both perspectives. And quick disclaimer, like we said before, we don't have it all figured out. Like we still like regular married people, we still have disagreements. We still are only a year in marriage, so it's a lot of kinks that needs to be worked out. It's a lot of things that when they happen, we don't necessarily know how to respond to them, like in a practical sense, but also in a spiritual sense, because that is where the real war is. So, yeah, you go ahead and unpack that.
Yeah, so with the situation regarding yesterday, he got off work and I felt this like hot and cold energy coming from him. But instead of me like looking at it spiritual, I did look at it more so in the physical lens. And I do have a tendency of always thinking that I've done something wrong or just making myself guilty by default. So yeah, that led to me like, asking him like, I'm apologizing for no reason basically. I'm like, if I did something, I'm sorry, stuff like that. And then he ended up getting happy, or it seemed like he was happy at the time. And then I don't know what happened. He just switched back off again. So I'm like, do you want to talk about it? I don't want to talk about it right now. Okay. So in my mind, I'm still thinking that it's me that did something. So, yeah, long story short, we were in the midst of recording for this episode, and I was trying to put our daughter to sleep, and I just turned off the light, and I figured like, since I'm trying to get us to, record it as soon as possible so we could go to sleep, he turns the light back on. So at that moment, I just...
Correction. She turned off the light. The light that we use to light ourselves to record.
The ring
I
light.
turned on the TV.
It's still another light.
Proceed.
It's still another light.
Clarity matters.
Okay. Yep. So more, yeah. I'm just trying to, you know, I thought at the time I was being like helpful, and when he did that, I felt like he was against me. Like at that point, he just didn't care. So I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry. I can't do this podcast right now. I can't do this episode. And that's when he mentioned, I'm just at this point allowing the enemy to win. So at that moment, I'm like, okay, this is spiritual. But instead of me, again, looking at it in a spiritual perspective, I continue to look at it through a physical lens. So shortly after, he came in a room and he grabbed like his keys, his wallet, and etc. as if he was about to go somewhere. So I'm like, where you going? And he just ignored me and didn't say nothing. I think that was like the second time yesterday that happened, to where he just was silent once I said something. And I find that highly disrespectful, and I'm pretty sure he do too. Um, so I think I asked about one more time, and the moment that he put his keys down, I picked them up and I hit the keys. And of course, like, he was angry. But the reason that I took the keys was to get through to him. But from his perspective, I'll let him tell on that. Um, I mean, from his side, I'll let him explain that. But my reasoning for taking the keys was not to control in no way, shape, or form. It was literally to get through to him, because I'm just like, okay, you're not answering me. And I felt as if I was to let him leave, that mean I didn't care about our marriage. That mean I didn't care whether we talked it out or not, before him leaving the house. So, yeah. I hope I summed it up to the best way that I could.
Yes, you did. From
Excuse me.
your perspective, you did.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not necessarily. I mean, I will like add bits and pieces of the situation that was missing, but like as y'all see, this is like real life. These are real scenarios, like stuff that people go through, but they don't necessarily talk about. Like, this episode is supposed to drop today, and we are recording this episode today because we couldn't stop for a minute to have a conversation with each other. Um, and a great portion of that is, I want to say, it's my fault because I do a lot. Um, I'm extremely involved at church. I do work, unfortunately, work a job. And it's a humongous strain on what it is that we're doing. And in the midst of all of that, like, this, I'm building out a nonprofit the Lord has placed on my heart and in my mind, and now I have a team that I have to manage, that I have to like reach out to, put stuff together. Yes, it's other people who can handle that, but I'm not there yet. So from my perspective, yesterday was a packed day where it was like, as soon as I finished working, I had to leave right back out as soon as I got myself together. Um, and when I got back home, it was time to start recording, but we were supposed to record before I even left initially, which is like a whole nother frustration. So now at this point in time, I'm thinking about, okay, not only is my day already gone, but I'm hungry, I'm tired.
It was a pizza on the stove, by the way.
It was a cold pizza on the stove,
I could have warmed it up.
but it wasn't warm. Perspective,
He eat room
perspective.
temperature stuff, but okay.
Cold, not room temperature. Cold. If
I
I
didn't know it
warm
was
it up,
cold.
it's cold. We This conversation for a whole nother time.
Mm.
But um, just in that moment, like the weight of a man, I don't think that and I'm gonna speak to you on this. I don't think that you truly understand like the type of weight that I do carry. Like, yes, it's self-inflicted, but this is what it looks like to operate in purpose. I know that God put me on this earth for a reason, and my first priority is to make sure that my home is straight. So every single thing that I do out there is to make sure everything in here is good. And when I'm here, I try to be present. But yesterday, the warfare, all the different things that was pulling on me, how I was feeling within myself, the stuff that I know that has to be done, was just like weighing heavy on me. And in that moment, I didn't need a conversation. I needed for you to go into the prayer closet and go before the Lord concerning me. Like, that is where the wars is won. That's where everything that we face, like, that's where it rests at. And I truly believe that prayer will and can change things. I believe in that moment, if you would have prayed, and even if you just asked God for guidance, like, Lord, what do I do? He would have gave you exactly what to do. He would have gave you exactly what to say. Even if it wasn't like this stuff just magically disappeared. It's just like being tapped in enough. Like, you this tight knit with God. Like, you this tight knit. Like, you know me. You know how I am. You know that if I'm at the height of who I am naturally, then I'm joking, I'm laughing, I'm playing, um, and I just, in that moment and beyond, up until like the keys were grabbed, like I was through, bro. That was like throwing alcohol on fire, trying to put it out. It was not going to fix anything, and it didn't fix anything. Yeah, so like in facing that situation, that moment, like what did you learn from that? What are your takeaway points?
My takeaway points, or one takeaway point is like to not be as selfish, or don't be selfish at all. Because as I stated before, I do put a lot on myself, and I can be self-centered a lot. So yeah, um, not always thinking that the problem is me. Um, and also another takeaway is me really expressing how stuff make me feel. And like, yeah, besides praying, like, still to let it be known that, yeah, just let it be known how certain stuff affect me. Because at the end of the day, I'm still human. So a way that could have helped me get clarity at that time would be like, Nia, I'm not in the mood right now, or Nia, just pray for me. If that would have been, I know that it doesn't always have to be said, because the more spiritually in tune I am, the more I'll know you won't have to say it. But where I'm at on my spiritual journey, it would be nice to like bring that up, just so like I'm aware, because I'm not a mind reader. So
And it's not, a lot of this stuff is not reading minds. A lot of this stuff is just wisdom.
right.
So we already had a discussion. We are going to talk about like how we came to a resolution to even like get here now, because I'm telling you, like, where we was at, this episode would not be recorded right now. Um, but it's not that I'm asking you to be a reader, but the word does encourage us and instruct us to be wise. So in you being wise in that moment, it's like, okay, obviously he is not in a mood. What can I do to change the energy that is in the room? Like, practically speaking, like, outside of, okay, your first instinct isn't to pray, which it should be, um, because with this, as Joshua said, like, as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. That means everything that we do, we take it back up to Him. We in this marriage, we see each other, but it's three in here. It's us and the Father. So if you can't get through to me, you need to go through this to the source, because that's who I'm going to. And yeah, bro, it's just not realistic for a man with the type of weight that I just expressed to you to, in a moment of like extreme frustration or like just being overwhelmed, needing a moment mentally to think, pray for me, or not right now in this moment. Me, who I am personally, I'm used to being by myself. So I'm used to blocking out the noise. So when situations like that happen, like when I feel how I feel, I need to process that. So my wisdom to you, like to better understand who I am, is when you face with me like that, let me be. Like, if you want to be nice and kind, that's like a completely different, like, you can literally shift my mood and you can get out of me whatever it is that you want out of me. But you approaching me like how you were, like almost meeting me where I am, like allowing what it is that I'm feeling just for a moment to shift how you move. Like, I guess my expectation is that you have a backbone in that sense, and that you do lean on the word, that is your foundation. If that's what we are basing this marriage off of, if we are in this marriage to honor God, then that needs to be what we resort to. It's not resorting to me. When all else fails, resort to the source. Yeah. And that's my wisdom on that. In all you're getting, get an understanding. Um, so like how can you learn how to develop more efficiently as a wife? Can you just express some of the advice that I gave you?
Yeah, but before say that, since you asked me, I just wanted it to be fair. Like, did you have any takeaways from yesterday's situation?
Um, Honestly, if there is a takeaway for me to even have, I honestly I don't know. Um, because it's not that I'm trying to like victimize myself, or I'm like not trying to look at stuff from like, okay, this may have been what you've felt in this moment, but like in my mind, like how I think logically, even me going in the room and grabbing my stuff, I just started warming up food.
But I didn't. Hold on. I didn't see that or I didn't smell that until after I had already grabbed the keys. All I literally seen him do was take the cover out of the dryer. But still, like, that wasn't in my mind at the time.
Wait, you didn't even let me get to that part. I'm doing stuff around the house. If somebody is grabbing all of their belongings, why would they put them down to start doing stuff around the house if their plan is to storm out? And one thing that I mentioned to you was like, where am I gonna go? This is my home. Like, I pay the bills here. I'm safe here. Why would I go out and waste gas driving around? That's never been like who I was. That's never been how I process anything. You've never experienced me doing that. I've never done that to you. Ever.
I can agree that he hasn't. But at that time, I was just thinking of one step at a time. All I know is you grabbed your keys and you grabbed your stuff.
For sure. But I don't want to skip over this. Like, what
No, no,
is,
no. Right.
because I wanna highlight the fact that there are preventative measures that, like, when God places a man into your life to lead you, the Lord gives the man different wisdoms and different things to pour into you, advice to give you, things that you may not be able to pick up on yourself. And I just want you to be able to highlight, like, what are those things that the Lord has given me? Like, what are some things that I even practice myself that I encourage you to do?
Read my word. Specifically, Proverbs 31 was recommended to me by him.
1 Peter 3, Ephesians 5.
I wasn't done, but yeah, if you want to say it after you asked me the question.
I was just trying to help you out.
Yeah, so.
Because before, even beyond Proverbs 31, like, yes, that verse is cool, but if you don't practically know what it is, like, what is your role within marriage? Okay, go to 1 Peter 3, where it tells a wife to submit to the husband as unto the Lord. Like, you can't even get to Proverbs 31 if you can't do that. Like, that's why.
I'm just saying what you firstly emphasized the most.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
You're right. Right. I was a young whippersnapper back then. Only thing I cared about was what everybody was talking about at P31. And I believe that, I still believe that I married a P31, but I also know that there's a lot of work that has to be done for you to actually reflect what it is that I know. That's facts. But what else? What else have I been?
That's rich. Yeah, literally that, and just changing the way that, changing the way that I involve myself around certain circles, just so I could get hipped on being a better person overall, being a person that God has called me to be. Still being myself, but like, yeah.
Can I give I'm actually gonna go a little bit deeper into that because
I said it verbatim and I kind of was sugarcoating it a little bit, but if you feel like I think you should speak on that.
Because the question I was asking was, like, what was the advice that I gave you? Not today, not when we woke up at 4 a.m. and like resolved the issue. When I tell you the spiritual warfare, it's so real. Like, what is it about this video in particular that since we've been trying to record this podcast specifically, like us just walking in this, it's been so much warfare. And I don't think I've ever experienced nothing like this. Like, how does my phone run out of storage?
Right.
Now. Maybe the enemy thought we was playing the first time, which is why it was like such a breeze.
Okay.
But to recap and go back to the question that I asked, like, what are some things that I've been encouraging you to do, like, to prevent stuff like what happened yesterday? Like, just as far as getting wisdom.
Getting wisdom from other Christian wives and moms. Just really building that community so it's not just me by myself.
Yeah, and actually I want to touch on, like, why it is that one of the things that I encourage was that you restructure how it is that you spend your time, as far as like who it is that you communicate and how much time you spend with them. Because as I referenced to you this morning, like, it's a quote that says, you become like the 5 people that you're around the most.
Right.
So if you're around people who aren't what you want to become, if you're not around like marriages that are like Christ centered, if you aren't around women who are not only trying to honor God, but they're trying to actually honor the people and the man that is in their lives, you will become like everything that is not that. And I know that was it. Was like a little twist, yeah. But like that's facts, bro. Like that's rich.
Yeah, for sure.
And I I really hope and pray that like the resolution that we did come to, like that actually sticks, because I feel like we had this conversation multiple times. And it was like it's been a lot of small things that of small issues that haven't got resolved, a lot of mentionings of stuff like this, but never a situation that exploded, I want to say, like this one did. um yeah, and if you don't mind, like just speak on like the resolution, like how do you feel about the resolution that we came to, and how do you feel about like the parameters, and even if you want to like dive into the parameters too, just speak on that. Like, how did we come to a resolution after all of that?
Of course, the resolution made me feel much lighter. Um, how I feel about the parameters, I know it's something that I should have been doing. Um, it ain't really nothing to feel about it. It's just more so doing everything that's supposed to be done right now. Yeah, I don't really feel no way about it. I just know it's work that has to get done. And I know, like, once we literally on the same accord, the enemy gonna be, like, stupid pissed. So I just know, and for you too, we just gotta be prepared and stay prepared.
Yeah.
So, like, even if it's another situation similar to this, it won't prolong for as long as it did.
And I will go as far as to say, because your actions have power, and your thoughts become your words, and your words become your actions. So I will go as far to speak that a situation like this would never happen, because you would never be the woman who you were when that occurred. And I would never be the man who is so caught up in spiritual warfare, so caught up in my emotions, that I can't realize what it is that the enemy is doing and speak against it.
That's right.
So yeah, we won't encounter a situation like this again. And even beyond like the parameters that was set up, like just to even like piggyback off of that just a tad bit, the parameters aren't like, okay, don't talk to these people for this amount of time. It's like, no, use your time wisely.
And set boundaries.
Yes, set boundaries. Yes, all of that. But even beyond that, like the time that you would spend communicating with them, you should be doing another thing, which is developing new relationships, which means you have to get out the house, which means you have to communicate with other women, which means that you're going to have to grow, which means that you're going to have to get in your word, which means you're going to have to spend more time with the Lord, which means you're going to have to stay on fire spiritually. And that's really the biggest aspect when you are in like a Christ-centered marriage, and like y'all on purpose together. You have to stay on purpose.
Yeah.
And realize that that on purpose is going to attract some type of attention, and that attention is going to cause conflict if you don't realize this isn't him trying to start something. I know that he does not like arguing. I know that his mood usually is like not, he's serious, he about his business, but he ain't like that. Something off. Let me go to war where it actually matters and not war with the flesh and blood that I see, because that's not what we wrestle against.
Mm.
You have some really beautiful eyes.
Aw, you do too.
Stop trying to make me feel tall.
You told me first.
So I could do that.
Even if you don't feel it, you still tall.
Thank you. That wasn't rich. That was not rich.
And it's not getting cut. I know what time it was. So.
Yeah, but man, all in all, like I'm grateful for the experience, because we had completely different intentions for this podcast. But I believe like us like doing what we initially said this podcast was for. Like even in the beginning when we first started, we said like people are going to journey with us, like y'all are going to journey with us as we figure out like what marriage is, bro. Like trying to do this God's way for real. With baby girl in the background and everything. Like we y'all going through this with us. Like we full, transparent, all that. And I just pray that it bless somebody. Did you have anything that you wanted to say before we close out, or is it anything that I missed? Any rich wisdom that you want to throw out there regarding this situation or any other situation? Oh, wow.
Nope. Well, that's it, folks. No, honestly.
Probably ain't even hear that. Nala just did that diaper in, man. Dang.
It's okay.
Yep, it's okay, because mommy gonna change you. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. She do not like baby talk. She looking at me like, what?
I am a grown baby. Honestly, though, not at this time.
You gotta leave the people with some rich wisdom from a wife and a mother. A wife of 1 year, a mother of 3 months. You just had one of the most difficult situations in your marriage, and you overcame. Y'all overcame. What is some rich wisdom that you can leave a woman who is in a similar situation, or maybe even worse, or maybe even not as severe?
I got it. I just didn't want you to miss on my train of thought. Don't be afraid to change when it's necessary.
Ooh, that's rich. Say that again for the people in the back.
They could just replay it. I'm just fine. Don't be afraid to change when it's necessary. At the end of the day, nobody is perfect, and we all learning. Submission isn't equivalent to being weak. It's actually strength, and that's one of the greatest lessons in marriage. From a wife's perspective, especially if you didn't grow up like having that discipline. So,
Or even example.
Yeah,
that's rich.
Yeah. I was given all the love in the world when it came to discipline. I always been my own little boss. So to be in a marriage, that's my biggest lesson. So yeah, don't be afraid to change when needed, and submission is not equivalent to being weak. It's actually strength. Do you have any rich wisdom for this episode?
Of course. My rich wisdom would be grace. I believe in that situation, that moment when you took the keys, and I just like thought back on like how many interactions that we had that ended up with me calling you childish or calling your actions childish. And that was like the pinnacle of that. And I um I I realize now, like in hindsight, because this was the one and only night that I've ever slept on the couch. That's how frustrated I was. That's how unwilling I was to give you grace. And I was unwilling to give you grace because I looked at, the responsibility that I have. That my prayers are hindered if we aren't in alignment. So why even allow the situation to go this far? But God tells me to honor you as the weaker vessel. So my rich wisdom would be, no matter what the situation is, great or small, give grace, because you don't want for God to not to be able to hear you because you got so much pride, there's so much ego. Drop it and forgive her. I promise you, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
I got a question whenever you finish.
What's up?
How does it relate to what you just? How does it relate to the wisdom that you just gave about the woman being a weaker vessel?
What do you mean when you ask that? Like, how does what relate?
You said basically like how God tells the man to honor the woman as the weaker vessel. Like, how does that relate to the wisdom that you just gave them?
It relates because,
like, how does that support your wisdom?
Because it's easier to give grace when you know that you have to honor your wife as the weaker vessel. Like, you have to honor her as, like, not necessarily, it's gonna sound bad, but like being lesser than you, even though I don't see you as lesser than me. It's like honor you as not, like, for example, not having as much wisdom as me. I gotta honor the fact that you don't know what you don't know. So that's how that supports that. If I know that you don't know what you don't know, it's easier to forgive you.
Okay. Just saying that for somebody that might be listening and been like, they don't like know the definition of a weaker vessel.
Yeah, for sure. So. No, I definitely appreciate the question. Stretch me, make me stay on my P's and Q's, bro, when it comes to like truly studying the word to show myself approved.
But that is your terminology of like weaker vessel.
From my perspective, based off of what I've read, I will say, like, we could go through the passage and like break it down, but from my understanding, from my remembrance, yes.
Okay. Well, if that was everything,
you can't just end like that.
I said why
you ask that question like that?
I just told you why. It's for them.
Okay. What's your perspective of a weaker vessel? You ain't finna put me on the spot and just end the episode like that when I'm in the hot seat. Nah. And while you doing that, I'm finna go ahead and confirm, because I want to rightly divide the word.
Honestly, I'm still working on like not feeling offended. I ain't gonna say being offended, because offense is not who I am, but feeling offended. But for another woman that might feel offended when they hear that too, I just wanted them to hear it. I just wanted y'all to hear it from a male's perspective.
So actually, you got some clarity on that.
But the weaker vessel is, to me, is still an equal partner. Like, at the end of the day, y'all both are vessels. However, we all got roles to play.
Ooh, now look, losing her mind right now. Let's hurry up and get through this.
Yeah, I was done.
So,
Right. We heard you, mamas.
uh, the from the NLT version of scripture is First Peter chapter 3 verse 7. And it reads, "In the same way, you husbands must give honor to your wives. Treat your wife with understanding as you live together. She may be weaker than you are, but she is your equal partner in God's gift of new life. Treat her as you should, so your prayers will not be hindered."
As you just verbatimly said.
Man, praise God.
But
Cause
yeah.
yeah, that scripture hit. But thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Richest Wisdom. As Nala let y'all know that she is in the room. Let them know, baby girl. Let them know. Yeah. She got the cutest smile. But yeah, man. We pray that this bless y'all. And until next week, we love y'all.